Welcome to the Crypto Domain, your front row seat to crypto's biggest news. Today we're just going to jump straight into the markets, try and keep it a short one. So if we have a look here, we can see Bitcoin still sitting around that 105 to 106 range. We know that we had that pullback and we saw that when we looked here, we could see it drop back down to around that 100K mark. So, you know, whether we're going to get back down there, there's a few people thinking that's probably where we could be headed again. I'm not so sure of that, but you know, it is something to think about. Again, for me, I'm not selling anyway, so it doesn't bother me too much. I'm riding out the storm we're going through and looking for opportunities. If we look around here as well, we can see Kita has been the top trending at 14.9%. We can see Ethereum look down, and I feel we'll probably see a bit more red in the market today than we did yesterday. We have a look, and not massive moves, right? Most of these are 1% or, you know, just under or over 1%. Here you go. You got ICP at 9.1 in the green. You've got Quant at 3.5. So, you know, if we're calling out 3.5s, there's not a whole lot of movement. SPX 6900, which is a meme, that's at 7.5. So that's one of the bigger movers, 21.2 on the week. Okay, and if we look at the market cap, again, we're coming through the weekend, so volume tends to be down a little bit, 72 billion. You've got a market cap of 3.4, so it is down slightly. BTC dominance is still at 61.6. It's still up above that 61 mark. And Ethereum is at 8.8. So again, still quite high as well. Again, combined, what are they? Just under 70% of the market, or just over, 70% of the market. If we have a look at the crypto bubbles, now if we have a look at the crypto bubbles, we can see you've got Kaya, not sure how you want to pronounce that one. That's a layer one though. It's quite prominent in Asian markets. You've got ICP, which I mentioned earlier. SPX is a meme, so that's 7.7%. That's on Avalanche, if you're looking for that one. Altcoin we've talked about a lot. You got WIF, Bonk, the usual suspects. AB as well. So that it's focused on your interoperability. You got Quant over here at 3.5. White's down, so that's that White Rock, 7.8%. Let's have a look at the 100 to 200. So you got Saros over here. Now that's on Solana. I'm pretty sure it's on Solana, but it's meant to be like a Web3 super app. You got Raven here. That's at 16.8. So that's more a peer-to-peer transfer of assets. So probably RWA if you're looking along that line. Ket, which is a meme coin. You got KTA here as well. That's 17%. So that one's Keta, which I mentioned earlier. That bridges TradeFi and digital assets. What else we got? Brett's down 6%. Kato 5.4. Now, the fear and greed is sitting at 62, so pretty much in line with yesterday, right? Again, down a little bit on last week. We'll see how that plays out. It could be quite an interesting week this week. You do have the CPI data coming out. On the 18th, you've got the Fed rate announcement, so that's just around the corner too, really, 9 days away. Okay, and then next up, we'll have a quick look at the Michael Saylor X post. Now, we know whenever he makes these posts, there's quite a good chance he's generally buying. So, send more orange, says Michael Saylor. So, you know, we can probably take a good stab that strategy of buying some more Bitcoin at the moment. We know that they're the biggest holder. We know that there are so many other corporations slowly getting on board, bringing it onto their balance sheet and that. So obviously Saylor's going to want to keep ahead of all of that as well. Let's have a quick look here at the CryptoRank.io top 7 unlocks. So they've got Aptos. That's at around 1%. You got Starknet is at around 1.3 unlock. 2% for Mocha. Immutable X is at 1.23%. Movement is at 0.5. Then these ones get a little bit bigger. You got BounceBit at 2.13, and Suilend, however you want to pronounce that, is at 6.88%. Now that's a reasonable amount, 6.88%. So if you're invested in any of those, or even if you're looking at those and maybe looking for entry positions, keep an eye on if there's any price movement on the back of these token unlocks, which there often can be. So they're all coming up this week. We can see here you've got the Fed decision in June, so we know that 17th, 18th is the FOMC meeting. The interesting part on this is Polymarket users predict 98% chance that the Fed will not make any rate cut changes on June 18. Now, Polymarket's actually been pretty accurate, right? It's quite an accurate indicator of what's going to happen, and at 98% chance, that's a really good chance. So really keep an eye on that. You know, what do you think that'll mean for the market as well? Like, put a comment below. Let me know what you think that'll mean for the market if they stay flat. I think the other thing people are really going to be interested in is what's the narrative behind. So what's the narrative that Powell is going to give around the rate staying flat, and you know what's going to happen in the future, etc. So a lot of people will be looking for that, right? They're probably going to be flat, at least according to this. There's a good chance of that. And people are probably then really going to be hanging on every word that he says, looking for something in that'll give him an indicator, and the market will move on that, I would say. So another thing to keep an eye on. Again, remember, not this week, that's next week. So I will mention it again, probably on the Saturday and the next Monday show as well. So yeah, keep an eye on that. We can see here you got the Fed decision, as I mentioned, that's June 18. So the FOMC is over the 17th and 18th, I think it is. So keep your eyes on that. I know that's next week, so I'll definitely mention it again before that. But, you know, at the moment, it's quite interesting I feel a lot of people feel that they're going to keep the rates on hold at the moment. If we look at, as we like to, we'll look at Coin Market Cal. Immutable X we've already mentioned, but this is a Tokyo Beast launch, so this isn't the unlock which they've got down here. That'll give them a real chance for Web3 to enter the 27.4 billion Japanese gaming market. You got Flare up here, XRP-Fi. Flare unlocked the real DeFi utility, so that's happening on the 9th of June. Injective have main Monday on the 9th of June. Crow and Push Talk, a couple of AMAs coming up. So if you're in those and you're interested, keep an eye on that. Aptos, already mentioned, that's at 11.31 million token unlocked. Again, it's 1.79% of the supply. Immutable X has 1.33% here. Look, that's on 13th of June. Then you got Say, they have a token unlock as well, 1%. Which doesn't sound like a lot, but it really just depends on what's already in the circulating supply. Mt. Gox, as we always talk about as well. Okay, so obviously a lot coming up this week, right? Always an interesting time in crypto. There's always stuff going on with Trump and the broader market. You got the FOMC. That's coming up. That's not this week specifically, but it is coming up. So keep an eye on it. We do have the CPI numbers coming out, so they'll be quite interesting to keep an eye on. And just broadly what's happening. I think a lot of people's eyes at the moment are going to be on Bitcoin. What's happening with Bitcoin? It's sitting around the 105K, 106K mark. Will we see that? Will we see us get above that, or are we going to drop back down, drop below the 100 mark? So there's still a lot to sort of potentially people will be waiting and seeing how this plays out this week. I do feel that we're not too far away from that turn that people are waiting for, whether it's this week or next week or the week after, whatever. A lot of people are already in their positions and they're just holding their positions. So if you're looking for opportunities, now's probably the time before we take off on that bull run. Now's probably the time for those plays that you have conviction in. those plays you may be trying to get a bit better positions in. But just make sure that whatever your strategy is, that you're sticking to your strategy, okay? It's just really going to be important. Like mine is, I won't be buying on the way up. You know, I'm setting to be selling. I've got my indicator points that I'll be looking at across a number of indicators. So like that'll be my strategy. Other people might be trying to roll coins as the market goes up, roll from Bitcoin to ETH to whatever, same as the market does. You do you. But just make sure whatever your plan is, just make sure that you have a plan, and whatever your plan is, just stick to it. That's all I'd say. If I've learned anything in this game over the last 5 years, stick to your plan. Make your plan when you're not full of hype and euphoria and FOMO or FUD or whatever it might be. Make your plan when you're calm, logical, before events happen. The other thing to really think about is when people start to sell, like if it's a blow off top type thing, people will be trying to sell, exchanges will be flooded, exchanges could stop. You need to have different options. So my suggestion would be definitely have more than one exchange. Hold your stuff on your hardware, so your cold wallet or your hot wallet, whatever's working for you, for whatever your circumstances are. But make sure you have a plan to get the tokens off those, and whether you're stabling up or some of the wallets you can just do it within them, right? But make sure if that's not working, you've got a backup plan to move to an exchange. If that one's not working, you've got a backup plan to go to another exchange. Have a couple of backup plans for how you're going to exit each individual token, because obviously not all exchanges do all tokens. Definitely think about that. Definitely get that plan in place. Write it down. You know, because in the heat of the moment, you want to go, right, I'm doing this. That's not working. Plan B was this. Plan C was this. Bang, 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 bang. You know, people will be flooding one exchange. There's another exchange over here that trades in it that's not even being used. There's your off ramp. Okay. Or there's your opportunity to stable up, or whatever you're doing. The other thing would be with your, you know, when you're transferring money into the exchanges or off exchanges, you'll often have limits. Okay, so and you have to go through KYC or whatever the case may be for each exchange. Whatever you got to do to up those limits, whatever the limit is that you can get to, that's the highest limit, get to that limit now. Don't try and do it during the bull run when everyone else is trying to do it, because you won't get it done, or it'll be a delay, or you can try and do it on the day that you want to. Get everything lined up now, I guess is what I'm saying. Get your exchanges lined up, get your off-ramping plan lined up, get your limits at the maximum you can get them to off-ramp, because you don't know what your tokens are going to be at, or what limit you're going to want to get stuff off exchanges at, or move stuff on exchanges or whatever. Make it as high as you possibly can would be my advice as well. But anyway, guys, look, I hope you got some value out of that today. There is a bit coming up. Sorry I haven't been posting as much. I've been feeling a bit unwell, so you know, I'll try and keep on top of it. I'm going for 5 a week at the moment, so hopefully I'll be able to keep that up. And look, click that bell notification so you get notified when I release my videos. And remember, crypto's an adventure. Get into it. I'll catch you in the next one.